Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. I am so glad you're here, because today we're diving into the fascinating and, let's be real, sometimes deeply frustrating world of English plurals. If you've ever been typing up an email and found yourself just staring at a word, wondering why a grammar rule applies perfectly to one noun but completely falls apart for the next, well, you're in the exact right place. We're going to break down how we talk about multiples in English, looking at what we expect to happen versus the wonderfully chaotic reality of what actually happens.
So we're unpacking a single page from a grammar guide today. It gives us this neat little list of bullet points detailing the rules of plural nouns. It all looks so orderly and structured, right? But as we dive straight into this source material, we're going to unpack exactly how these rules work and how incredibly fast they go off the rails.
Before we get into the heavy lifting, let me ask you a ridiculously simple question. How do you make one thing into many? Think about it for a second. It seems like it should be the most straightforward task in any language. You have a single object, you add another one to it, and you just need a reliable way to communicate that new quantity. That's our baseline expectation for how English grammar is supposed to operate. It should be totally predictable.
Here is our roadmap for the explainer. 1. The golden rule of plurals. 2. The suffix transformers. 3. Shapeshifters and clones. And 4. Rare relics and paradoxes.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the golden rule of plurals.
According to our source, plural nouns are simply words that state there's more than one person, animal, place, thing, or idea. It's a huge bucket of concepts, but the job itself is simple. It acts like a signpost. It tells whoever is listening or reading that we're officially dealing with multiples.
And honestly, this gives us a wonderful, completely false sense of security. As the text lays out, most plural nouns are formed by just slapping an S on the end, right? A singular tree becomes trees. A cave becomes caves. It's incredibly efficient and makes perfect logical sense. But don't get too comfortable.
Moving right along to Section 2, the suffix transformers.
Here is our first big twist. You can't just toss an S at the end of factory. No way. Our source shows that if a noun ends with a Y, it actually drops that Y altogether and takes IES. The word fundamentally alters its tail end just to show there's more than one.
And this builds into an even wilder transformation with nouns ending in F or FE, like scarf and knife. They don't just change a vowel, they undergo a complete consonant shift. Scarfs changes to scarves, using a VES. Knife changes to knives, again with that VES. They literally alter the spelling and the sound entirely when they become plural.
But wait, the transformations don't stop there. Our text outlines this whole dense list of endings that demand an ES instead of just an S. So, words ending in S become buses. Double S gives us classes. Plus, we've got to do this for nouns ending in Z, CH like churches, SH for bushes, X, and even O, which gives us potatoes. It's almost like these specific letters just physically can't handle sitting right next to a simple S without an E acting as a buffer.
Now for Section 3, shapeshifters and clones.
If you thought the suffixes were tricky, check this out. The text points to changes in the spelling of the singular noun itself. It's basically internal shape-shifting. To make man plural, we don't use a suffix at all. It just changes its internal spelling completely to become men. The outside of the word stays roughly the same, but the inside transforms entirely.
And then, oh man, we have these guys, the absolute clones of the grammar world. The text notes some nouns have the exact same form in singular and plural, deer and fish. I mean, think about the stubbornness here. One deer, a herd of 50 deer, one fish, a school of 1,000 fish. They look like exact clones of their singular selves, leaving it entirely up to the surrounding context for us to figure out how many we're actually talking about.
Finally, let's hit Section 4, rare relics and paradoxes.
We definitely saved the weirdest rules from our source for last. The text labels words like children and oxen as rare plurals. And yeah, they totally defy modern categories. We don't say childs or oxens, we tack on an EN or an RN. They sound so ancient, don't they? It's like they're these rare grammatical relics perfectly preserved in our everyday speech, just completely ignoring that golden rule we started with.
But here is the ultimate grammar paradox from our source text. Some singular nouns are spelled exactly like plurals. They literally end in an S, but they are entirely singular in their meaning. Words like news, scissors, and trousers. They wear a plural disguise but operate as single concepts.
Our text actually illustrates this beautifully with a quote. "I'll wear my black trousers today." And then it follows up with this perfectly dry logical clarification in parentheses. "I can only wear one and not more than one pair of trousers." I love that. It perfectly highlights the funny, contradictory logic of English. You're putting on a single item of clothing to cover your legs, yet the language practically demands that you speak about it as if it were multiple objects.
So, after looking at the golden rules, the transforming suffixes, the shapeshifters, the clones, and the outright paradoxes laid out in our source, I want to leave you with a final question to ponder. Is English grammar actually logical, or is it just a beautifully chaotic accident? We use these rules every single day, usually without a second thought, but when you zoom out to look at the whole picture, you really see the wild magic of language. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.